Is the R&D tax credit worth it? I get people asking me, what is this? Is it really even worth pursuing? And basically, I need to tell you, stop right there. Of course, it is worth it. For any business owner out there who is trying to get better, improve, innovate, then many people don't even realize that they can get a dollar for dollar tax credit back on what they spend on improving, on innovating. So today I'm going to answer that question. Is the R&D tax credit worth it? Stick around. You're not going to want to miss this. I'm Rich Smith, and one of the money lessons they never teach you in school is how to go after tax credits that apply not only to you, but to thousands of business owners out there. In fact, the R&D tax credit is one that can apply to any business owner, so long as you have US-based employees, US-based, maybe independent contractors, and or you're simply spending money to improve your business, innovate your business. So I'm going to dive into all the details, but real quick, please drop a like for this video. Now, the reason this tax credit is often overlooked is simply because people don't understand it. You see, the federal government wants business owners, wants entrepreneurs, wants businesses to spend money to stimulate the economy and essentially grow that economy, and all the while developing processes of innovation, improvement, perhaps even a new idea. Not even a new idea in general, but simply a new idea for that particular business. So my smaller companies often overlook this and have for years. They go, oh, it's too complicated, I just don't understand it. So I want to encourage you to stop right there and just think again. If there was a program out there that encouraged you to get better and would reward you with a tax credit, why would you not take advantage of it? So let's dive into how it works. The R&D tax credit is a dollar for dollar reduction of taxes owed by the business. So it essentially keeps more money in your pocket. Now, one more thing that's really cool is that it actually applies at the federal and most state levels. So you're going to be able to reduce that tax liability at the federal level and usually at the state level as well. Now, of course, there is like a wide range of how much money you can get back if you're spending it on research, if you're spending it on improvements or innovations, on development. And typically, if we just sort of want to average it out, we're seeing about 10% money back in your pocket. So simply put, if you're spending $1, they give you back a dime. If you're spending $100,000, you can expect back somewhere in the neighborhood of $10,000. Oh, and I should say, this is annual. You can go ahead and apply for this year after year. This is not a one-time thing. And so if you realize that you are constantly trying to experiment, get better, try new things, then this definitely is worth looking into. Now, I got a question just last week about, hey, Rich, if I'm going to apply for this, when can I expect my checks to come? And I totally get where that question's coming from, because business owners, the past few years especially, are used to applying for grants, forgivable loans, retroactive tax credits, and usually the IRS or the government will send you some money in the mail. Well, the way that this works is it's actually going to be applied to your tax liability, if you will. And they're not going to refund it to you, so you can actually carry that credit forward. If you don't owe anything, if you can carry that credit forward for up to 20 years. So if you've ever heard of any of these businesses like not paying taxes, and you're wondering like, how in the world does that happen? Well, they can spend a ton of money on something like research and development, get these tax credits year after year, and then when you factor in all their other deductions, all their other expenses, and then they have this credit that applies from the years before along with the current year, that's how they get to essentially pay zero taxes. So let's get down to it. I'm going to leave a link down below in the description so that you can learn more. It is not always easy to find somebody out there, experts, if you will, on the R&D tax credit. Your local accountant, even your CPA, might be hyper-focused on one area, whether it's bookkeeping or helping you with your annual taxes, your payroll taxes. So I really recommend seeking out, doing your due diligence, and working with a specialist, an expert in this area. I've tried to vet a few of them, and so I'll leave you a link down below in the description so you could check it out and learn more. All right, big picture key takeaways. A lot of people are wondering if it's worth their time to fill out some forms or send in some paperwork to get something like this R&D tax credit. Well, I have to tell you that it is absolutely worth it because it is not a one-time credit. It's not one that is only available to people who work in a specific industry. No, no, no. It is available to all business owners. All you need to do is figure out who you can work with to get it, put together some documentation, and then send in the forms. Of course, I don't want to make it sound easy, but once you get the ball rolling and this is something you just incorporate quarter after quarter, year after year, then you can rely on this money to lower that tax burden, to essentially keep more money in your pocket. Now, one thing that many people might not be aware of is there's been some recent changes to this tax credit, ones that make it more permanent, ones that make it more available to even startup businesses. In fact, I did a video that I'll leave linked right here, all about how businesses in their first 5 years can go after this money and essentially help them become profitable. In those first few years, sometimes you've got like a burn rate, if you will, and you know, okay, that means I've got 18 months to be profitable. Well, if you know you can apply a tax credit and all of a sudden get more money back on the books in your pocket, then that runway can be extended out further. Now, I mentioned it before, but if you are interested, I'll leave a link down below in the description. And it's also worth it when you are looking into this and thinking if it applies to you to actually kind of go back a few years too. You can go back up to 3 years to get this money from previous years where it was not claimed. And then, of course, working with an expert or specialist, you can actually get this money in the current quarter and actually have it applied right away. And then it's kind of that synergy of you've gotten back what you missed before, and now you're saving money each quarter. Every time you file those payroll tax reports, those taxes, everything, it's all working together, and you got some money being saved because you learned about the R&D tax credit. But let me know what you think. Let's start a conversation down below. Please leave me a comment. Tell me about your business and just ask me one question. I own this and I have a question about that. Especially if you're wondering if it applies and kind of checks those boxes necessary to essentially get that tax credit back in your favor. I'll also leave a link to one more video here about the 4-part test. Some people get a little confused when we're talking about tax credits, and essentially that 4-part test lets you know, yeah, if you're doing this and you're doing that, then this probably applies to you. Now, my website is full of other resources, business resources, finance resources, so feel free, please, to check it out. Oh, and if you're new to the channel, please don't forget to hit subscribe and ring that notification bell. All right, as always, I'm Rich, and until next time.